I'm Peter Vaughan, and today, well, I've just arrived at the Southport Caravan and Motorhome Club site with this, my latest test van, the Globe Traveller Falcon 2XS. Now, regular viewers of the channel will remember that Globe Traveller, this premium Polish campervan manufacturer, really surprised everybody when they debuted in the UK with their Voyager Z and immediately took the 2023 Campervan of the Year title. Now, those Voyager models and Explorers were all based on the several vans, Fiats and Peugeots, and they followed it up with two Falcon models, new for 2024. There's this 6-metre model and a longer 6.8 metre Falcon 2Z with a very conventional single bed layout at the back. But this one is the 6-metre van, more compact and with a totally different layout, something that, well, we haven't really seen perhaps anything quite like it, and certainly different to other Crafter based campervans on the market today. Now, this is very much a premium campervan to go with the premium Volkswagen base vehicle. Not only is it a Crafter, but it's a top-of-the-range Crafter. So you get the 177 horsepower engine, the 8-speed automatic gearbox, things like the LED headlights, front fog lamps, parking sensors, front and rear. I will go on in more detail as we go on. The metallic paint, that's standard too. But yeah, there is a premium price to pay, of course. I've just picked this one up from ES Hartley, Globe Traveller dealer at Ellesmere Port, and the price of this particular vehicle is £125,995, and that includes everything that you see on this vehicle bar these alloy wheels. Now, you get Volkswagen 17-inch alloy wheels as standard, but if you want these chunky off-road wheels and tyres, well, that will add another £995 to your bill. Other than that, as I say, this is a standard spec vehicle, so even things like the awning are included in the price. So before the rain that's forecast arrives, let's have a quick look around the exterior of the Falcon. Well, for a start, you get these flush fit windows, and I like the way they've blacked out the whole of the sort of window area. Gives it a much more automotive look, I think. And the black awning suits the style of the van with these black mouldings down the side and the wheel arch mouldings. All looks quite chunky, doesn't it? Right, dimensions. 5.99 metres long, 2.93 metres high, because Globe Traveller fit their own extra high roof onto the Crafter. Now, it's got a double floor inside, so a flat floor through the living area, much better for winterisation because you've got your tanks and plumbing and so on in that double floor. And, well, it's more like a premium coach-built motorhome in having that double floor aspect. Overall width, 2.04 metres. It's a 3.5 tonne base vehicle, 3,500 kilos, and that gives you 520 kilo payload. And of course, you can drive it on a standard car licence. Now, the other thing I should point out is that this is a right-hand drive vehicle with a left-hand sliding door. Unlike a lot of imported campervans, it is properly UK-handed. Now, you can see the mains hookup down on the near side corner there. Well, let's go and have a look on the other side. Now, there's actually not a lot more to show you down the off side, apart from now, without the awning on this side, you can more clearly see Globe Traveller's additional height roof. Two flush fit windows on this side and your fresh water filler. Now, fresh water tank is 85 litres and the waste tank is 80 litres, just a tiny bit smaller than perhaps we'd like. Now, you've actually got parking sensors down the side of the vehicle as well as front and rear. And the interesting part perhaps of this van on the outside is at the rear. You've got that reversing camera at the top. Again, this look of a glazed panel when there are in fact actually no rear windows. But The interesting bit is when you open the back doors and you find storage. You can't get into the van this way, but they've neatly attached the awning winding handle. You've got your external shower point. You've got storage for things like your levelling wedges. You've got these useful pockets for mains lead, bits and bobs, and then really generous cupboard in the corner here. Although perhaps it might be nice to have a hanging rail in there, maybe for wet gear when you've been skiing or something like that. And then here in the corner you have your leisure batteries, two 200 amp hour lithium batteries, because this is the no gas version of the Falcon 2 XS. If you want a version with gas cooking, gas heating, that will save you £6,400. But go for this no gas version, you get an induction hob, you get 320 watts of solar panels on the roof. These lithium batteries, as an upgrade, you get just one lithium battery with the gas version, so two of these 200 amp hour batteries, lithium batteries, with the no gas model. Now the sky is getting darker, I'm starting to get wet, and so more importantly is the camera. Just quickly, time to show you, you have an external electric step. Now that is switched just inside the door, but it doesn't appear to have any buzzer or automatic retraction, which is a bit of a shame. In here you have your waste tank dump valve, and here you've got interesting access to one of the kitchen cupboards. That could be really useful if you're eating outside. And of course, when you are outside, you want to keep the bugs outside with the fly screen. And I've just spotted down here, you've also got an external main socket. Just one more feature, you have a remote control for the awning light, and it's dimmable. How about that? So day 2 of this road test. I slept well last night, and whatever you were expecting inside this Globe Traveller Falcon, I don't suppose this was it. This is about as different from your average continental campervan as you can get. There's no fixed bed. It's a very open, very UK type of layout with this long settee, more than 6 foot long, that settee. Cab seats both spin round very, very easily without opening the cab doors. You've got this full height headroom in the cab, and then with an open shelf above. I've got my laptop bag and coats up there because, well, it's a bit rainy, but also because there's no wardrobe, no hanging space in this van. But look at this open space. There's a flat floor right the way through the living area. And also notice the storage. So you've got a storage bin there, little trap door to one of your water tanks for servicing, because both water tanks, as I mentioned, are inboard. At the back there's access to your drain valve for the boiler, and also a pump that pulls water out from the shower tray. And under this trapdoor, as we'll see in a minute, is the table. Up front here, I like this little cupboard area. You've got a little shelf, 2 USBs and a main socket, and a wireless phone charging pad. And it just makes this a practical area when you haven't got the table in place. There's also a genuinely premium feel inside this van. Not only is it fully winterized with the onboard tanks, but you've got Truma's Combi 6 D6E heating, so diesel and electric, and the more powerful 6 kilowatt unit. Love this sort of hexagonal patterning on the upholstery, on the walls, on the cab seats too, with this part leather finish. Nice stitching. It's all very nicely done in here. got this nice soft touch, sort of velour style headlining too. And look at the headroom, 2.03 metres or 6'8". So you're not going to be banging your head anytime soon. The only thing perhaps isn't quite as premium as it could be is the roof light, because it's the cheaper push-up type rather than the crank handle one. But everything else is very nicely finished. Now, you may have noticed on the upholstery that it does seem to rock up when you've been sitting on it, but actually it does seem to go back into shape when you get off the seat, so I'm not too worried about that. Now, the table, as I said, lives in a compartment in the floor, so just lift up the floor panel, extract the leg, and then the table itself even stores in a bag so it doesn't rattle. I have to say, this van really doesn't rattle on the road. We just had one slight chatter from a blind, but I think that should be easily silenceable at PDI time. So this will be one very quiet campervan to drive. The table leg, get it the right way up, and that just slots onto a rail and then tightens to the rail, and then the table itself just slots in on top. Now, if we did Campervan Table of the Year, well, this would get my nomination. For a start, it's nice and sturdy, and then, well, you can have it tucked here, so you sit facing your partner on the end of the sofa there, or you can sit side by side in the two cab seats if you prefer, or you could have the table lengthways for a more open living area, maybe just for coffees and snacks like that. Or you can even swing it right the way round, have it over the sofa, and then it's ideal for extra space for the chef. Well, you're certainly not short of space to put your feet up with this long sofa. Even with the table as I've got it now, well, you can really comfortably stretch out. All I need is a scatter cushion or a pillow for my back here, and I could be very, very comfortable just whiling away a few hours while it's raining and miserable outside. I can even reach across and get myself another drink without getting up, but maybe that's just a bit too lazy. One thing to note though is that if you're a telly addict, well, maybe you'll have to watch TV on your laptop or something, because the screen up there over the sliding door, even when you've pulled it out, is not really ideal. You can watch it from the cab seats, or one person could watch it from here, but it's still rather high up. It's rather like sitting in the front row at the cinema. In contrast, don't you just love these wooden slats behind me? What a nice touch. Also behind me here is another wireless charging pad, a main socket and more USBs. And then to mention lighting, because it is pretty generous. You've got these strip lights under the top lockers, mood lighting at ceiling level, and this dimmable light along the bottom of the kitchen. The only thing that's missing perhaps is reading lights in the cab. So that was lounging. What about cooking? Well, remember that this is the gas-free version of the Falcon, so you've got a 2-ring induction hob, and that's actually fitted by the dealer in the UK. And as part of the no gas package, of course you get the extra solar panels and the extra lithium battery, and up here you have a switch for your 1800 watt Dometic inverter. So you've got mains power even when you're not hooked up to a domestic supply. And of course that means you can use your induction hob off grid. Alongside your cooker you've got your sink, and it's an unusual sink because it's very, very deep but quite small. And if I demonstrate with a standard size plate, you can see, well, the surface area isn't quite as big as a plate, but plenty of room to dip the plate down into the hole. And look at this weird tap. It's as if it's made of plasticine. What a neat little idea that is. Main socket up here, as well as the ones you've already seen. Top lockers everywhere. These ones are shelved. Well, this one I've used for clothes. Quite shallow, these top lockers, because remember the Crafter is a bit narrower than, say, Fiat Ducato. Moving back through the van, we've got cupboard space, good cupboard space here. This is the one that's also accessible from outside. Then you've got a couple of drawers, 2 bins, one for recycling, of course. Your 50-litre compressor fridge. More cupboard space at the back. And then one of my favourite features, this slide-out storage. Very neat for non-perishable foods. And then, of course, there's more storage down the opposite side of the vehicle, over the settee. Now, 2 of these lockers are shelved and 2 unshelved. The unshelved one, well, it's got nice deep lips. I wasn't too worried about putting my camera bag in there. None of these are positively locked cupboards, but they do all soft close, as you can see. And then, well, you might be thinking that worktop space isn't very good, and particularly if you don't want to use the table, but you have this slide out. I think it's ideal for serving, because then you can just put your plates on here, serve up from the cooker, and look how sturdy that is. That's not going anywhere. It's a very solid bit of kit. Across the back of the van, a sliding door leads into the washroom, which goes most of the way across the back of the van. Remember, you've got that corner cupboard in the garage area. Now, not much cupboard space in here. A couple of very high level cupboards and just this shelf unit, but really, really good space for showering, and no horrible sticky shower curtain. Nice wooden duckboard on the floor as well. And you can see, if I demonstrate the shower hose, loads of headroom, loads of space. Other details, well, you've got 2-way fan in the roof vent and a tip-up basin. Hides nicely behind the toilet. Pull it down for use with gas struts, and you've got smart matte black fittings for the taps and so on. The only thing with the wash basin is that it's a backless one, so all the time you're running water, it's just wasting water down the back of the basin. It cannot actually hold water in there. The most interesting part of this washroom, and I never thought I'd say the most interesting part of anything, is the toilet. So there's no standard cassette toilet here. This is the Clesana C1 from Switzerland, said to be the world's first mobile water-free toilet with sanitary bag welding. So no water, no chemicals, and a saving of 10% in terms of CO2, says its maker, compared with normal cassette toilets. To use it, you insert a foil liner, which you can see here, under the seat, and it's recommended that you always sit to avoid splashes damaging the mechanism. But it can cope with female sanitary products and even nappies. Now, don't worry, this is just water. But that just goes into a bag, and then when you've done what you need to do, it's a soft close lid, and you just press one of the buttons, the small button for liquids only, a larger button for number 2s, and then there's some whirring as the loo does what it needs to do. Well, I'm glad I got that over with. Am I feeling flushed? maybe not. There are two things I like about this toilet. Number one and number two. No, seriously, the really good thing about this loo is it gives you greater independence. When you're off grid, often you can fill a cassette toilet, not a nice subject I know, but you can fill a cassette toilet very, very quickly. And do you really want a spare cassette somewhere in your van? Maybe in the garage, but this is odourless. It will last longer off grid and give you more independence from site facilities. And for that, it gets my vote. So before we go for a drive, that just leaves the bed. And it's quite simple. Just undo the catch on the backrest, lift this strap, and the whole settee moves up and over. And then nice vented panel slots down behind. You'll notice in the middle there's plenty of room for all my sleeping bags. There's a double duvet and two pillows in there, and you've got a little bit of storage on either side. And then that infill and this backrest just slot in, and because they're nice and tight fit, you really don't notice any ridges in the bed at all. I slept really comfortably in here last night. Bed itself 1.89 metres long, 1.24 metres wide. That's 6'2.5" by 4.5 inches. Got nice pleated blinds, full cab blinds as well. Everything you need. And with the bed made up, there's still plenty of floor space up front to get undressed, and you can still use the cab seats. So if one of you is snoring and the other one wants to get up, no problem. Now, the cooker and the fridge are still accessible, but just remember to leave your cups out for that morning brew. You can sleep either way round, of course, but I prefer heads at the front because then it's nice and easy to slide off the end of the bed if you need that Clesana loo in the night. Time to go for a drive. So driving this Crafter, well, for a start it's the 6 metre van, and that makes a huge difference. Those 6.8 metre Crafters really do feel quite large when you're manoeuvring them. Just the length of the wheelbase makes them so much less manoeuvrable. This, well, it feels like a big transporter. And it has all the toys. You've got your traffic sign recognition in the display here, and your sat-nav instructions in between the two dials as well. Of course, you've got your 8-inch Discover Media system there, and that does Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as having the built-in Volkswagen sat-nav. You've got DAB radio, of course, and reversing camera is on that screen as well. Other than that, yeah, you've got the digital air conditioning, so set the temperature you want, and at the other extreme you've got heated seats and a heated steering wheel. Very luxurious. You get the 177 horsepower engine as standard with this vehicle, and the 8-speed automatic gearbox too, so it's an effortless, smooth drive. I really enjoyed driving up from Ellesmere Port yesterday and just pottering around the Southport area. And with the parking sensors all round, it does feel as if, yeah, you have all the worry taken out of it. It's just a nice, easy vehicle to pilot. No rattles, lovely and quiet on the road. Even those big wheels and tyres haven't made the ride uncomfortable, which I feared they might have a detrimental effect, but no, they seem fine. Seats are excellent. You've got the tipping squabs to just give you a bit more support under your knees. Electrically adjustable lumbar support as well, and of course the twin armrests, and all nicely properly re-trimmed. So definitely feels like a premium vehicle from behind the wheel. Typical Volkswagen steering wheel, of course, with the cruise control. It's adaptive cruise control, which apparently works up to 160 kilometers an hour, or 99 miles an hour. Must be for the Germans, that one. Yeah, so you've got all the toys. And just to emphasise that you really do have all the toys, well, the wing mirrors fold in when you lock the van and unfold when you set off. And then you've got all the assistance systems. You've got light assist, which I presume means it dips the headlights for you. You've got lane assist, side assist, rear traffic alert, forward collision warning, front assist, and of course the park pilot. I'm not quite sure what all those do, but it certainly gives you all the toys, all the safety systems of a modern vehicle. It's evening, long after I thought I'd finished filming, and what do I discover but another little feature, a little drinks table, just a pop-out worktop like the other one that you saw earlier, but this one is absolutely ideal as a drinks table for the sofa. And of course you've got this shelf down the side as well for oddments, drinks, phones. Yeah. So, final verdict time on this Globe Traveller Falcon 2XS, with the video of course brought to you by MMM Magazine and our website outandaboutlive.co.uk. So what don't I like about this van? Well, that backless wash basin does waste water, and with the water tanks not being as generous as perhaps some rivals, then that is a bit of an issue for me. The TV, well, I'm not that worried about it, but that TV position really isn't very good. Other than that, I like most things about this van. I like this quite different layout to the typical Continental campervan. I like this long sofa, and earlier when the sun actually finally came out and I had the sliding door wide open, well, it was very appealing. Be nice to have some reading lights in the cab, be nice to have somewhere to hang a wet coat or two, but other than that, I really like a lot of things about this van, and that Clesana toilet really does give you greater independence, greater off-grid capability, with of course you've got the lithium batteries and the solar panels as well, so a great off-grid camper. And that toilet I think is quite a USP, quite a selling point for the van. Other than that, yeah, I can see this appealing to people that have top-end T6 camper vans and just want to trade up to something a bit bigger with a shower and toilet, because this does feel very much still a VW, still a premium product, and yeah, I could see me wanting something like this if the kids are left home and a pure two-berth van was back on the shopping list. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this latest review. Many more camper vans and motorhomes coming along on the channel soon.